Hi, I'm Kylie Rowe with Excellence in Reno, and today we have Vanessa Vancour with us to answer 5 questions on excellence. So Vanessa, the first question is, what is your number 1 tip to maintain excellence in the work you do?
Surround yourself with people who give you honest feedback and seek it and be open to receiving it. Because at least what happens with the work that I do in this project in particular is I'm so close to it, I miss things. And I of course have my vision for how I think it should be and where I think it's going, and I get in my head a lot. And when I ask people for feedback or when I get it, it's kind of a reminder to step back and remove yourself a little bit from it and be willing to accept other people's ideas that are just as great and willing to give it a shot. So
do you have certain people that are your go-to people that you ask for feedback, or are you kind of open-minded about just asking the people that are, that you're working with? Or
yeah, I mean, it's different for like personal development and professional, but for the work that I'm doing in the journalism school with the bilingual program, those people are the students.
Okay.
And so, being mindful to set moments throughout the semester where I can ask them for feedback. This semester, I was able to hire an outside evaluator to come in and do that for me so that the students, I hope, felt more comfortable being totally honest and not feeling like they might offend me because they know how much I love it and speak their truth. And then I would get all of their feedback and then look through it and then implement some of it so that they would know that, hey, when you take the time to respond thoughtfully, I do read it and we can make changes to improve what we're building. So for this, the students are the most important group in getting feedback. And then our associate dean, Jonica, and our dean, Al, are amazing, and I'd like to brainstorm with them sometimes to just get out of my head and maybe think bigger picture, and they're incredible for that.
That's wonderful. All right, so let's go on to the second question.
Okay.
So this one is, imagine if you were to move on to the next biggest and best thing in your career. What specific quality would you look for in a person to replace you with excellence?
God, these questions are not easy.
They're simple.
That's such a great question. So the most important quality for someone to replace me in order to leave this role.
Right.
Gosh, I think the first thing that comes to mind is just being open-minded and having and being genuine about that. It goes back to being open to getting feedback that maybe you're not always thrilled about, but being open to letting the students take charge and lead the way and suggest ways for improvement. And also a second quality would be being able to lead with kindness. I mean, being a strong leader and an advocate for the students and facilitating opportunities, but doing so with just kindness in mind, just being able to do that in a way that is gentle and inviting. Because a big thing for me is establishing a space where people feel like they have a voice, where they can find their voice and speak their truth and be true to what they really want. And I think those 2 qualities would be important for someone to take over the program. And it has nothing to do with skill set and more around this belief of openness and inclusivity.
That's a really good answer. It sounds like you're creating a safe place for people to learn and grow and to maybe make mistakes and learn from those too.
Yeah, and call me out on the mistakes. And if we do something and it's not super successful, talk about why it wasn't. And that's part of the beauty of experimentation and not really knowing what we're doing. So.
Right. Okay, so the third question is somewhat similar to the first 2, and there's a reason because I'm trying to get at something specific. So if you have a similar answer, that's okay, but if not, the third question is, what would you say is your number 1 strength that contributes to your excellence?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of feedback I get from the people that I work with. I think part of it is trying to identify the strengths in the other people that I work with and building on those. Because not everyone's a great writer, not everyone's going to be a great photographer, so on down the skill set line, but trying to find, this is what you're good at, work on that. On the other hand, I'd like to encourage people to try something new and experiment. So if you've always wanted to try video, do it and learn it and take a bunch of footage that isn't good, but at least you're using the equipment. So, hopefully, I don't know if that's what people would say when they've worked with me on certain things, but that's what I try to do, and I hope that it's a strength that I bring to the classroom and when I am in a position to lead a group or facilitate opportunities. Also connecting people, I think, would be perhaps stronger than that, is when I have identified a strength or a passion, is I believe that that's my role. It is my job to help these students and to find opportunities for them that strengthen something that they love. So if I know that there's an internship opportunity, or if there's a job, or we as faculty get approached all the time for recommendations for other things, I try to match that with people who I think would really thrive in that environment. So I always joke, but there's a lot of truth to this, that I don't believe I actually teach anything. I just facilitate and hopefully provide opportunities that then they can take advantage of and grow from.
Yeah, no, it sounds like you're really mindful of the people that you have in your environment, and so that you're creating kind of a complementary team for whatever it is that you're working on, projects, or you're able to identify the strength in others so that they can then make a bigger impact somewhere else.
Yeah, so hopefully that's the goal.
There you go. Okay, so the fourth one's a little different. This one's asking about personality, and I started asking people what their Myers-Briggs is, and nobody seems to know. So we don't have to go there unless you know yours.
Done it.
You haven't done it. Okay, I'm done. That's okay. So let's start here. Are you introverted or extroverted?
Extroverted.
Okay, and then what are some other aspects of your personality? How else would you describe your personality?
I'm thinking of my sign, because I think
Okay.
I don't know. For those who believe in their astrological signs, I'm a Virgo.
Okay.
So I'm social. I like being around people, and I thrive on other people's energy. I can also be a perfectionist in some ways, and that's when I say that I get in my head and this is the way that I envisioned it, and then that way then it also creates control issues for me, because I like to have my ducks in a row and make sure that things are a certain way before I do anything. So I'll do that if I'm preparing for meetings or a difficult conversation. I'd like to have things lined up and make sure that I've thoroughly researched something before I make a claim or approach something or someone about something, even if it's benign.
Right.
And so I worry sometimes that might get in the way, but I don't know, I'm a social person, and I love people, and I believe in energies and attracting good energies, and I think that since I opened myself to that kind of belief, I've been surrounded by incredible people and opportunities, and Reno's amazing for that, because once you start that wave of energy, it just keeps going and spiraling and attracting more good things. So I think that would capture most of my personality.
Yeah, and you really answered the rest of the question is, how does your personality contribute to your excellence? And you answered it in a lot of ways, because you're over preparing for things, and you're thinking things through, and you're attracting people to you, which is a really big part of your job, and people are attracted to you and they're opening to you, and because of that you're able to create more than you could have done on your own. So
yeah, it's amazing what has happened, and just the partnerships. I was just telling my colleague a story about my students did a rap video last semester.
A rap video? Okay.
You might know
I need to look into it.
Actually.
Yeah, I have a feeling I know exactly who it is.
And that was such an awesome, I totally invited myself to their shoot because I thought it was such a fun idea, and we had the best time just exploring. The rap video was about Wells Avenue and how eclectic the neighborhood is in that area. And one scene they were shooting was outside the Reno Little Theater, and someone came out of the building and said, "What are you guys doing?" And we thought, "Oh, we're just shooting outside. We don't mean to bother you." And they said, "Well, come in. You guys can shoot on set." And that moment has led to a friendship and a collaborative relationship with the director of the theater, because it turns out they were getting ready to launch a bilingual theater series.
Wow, that's amazing.
That perfectly aligns with my goals and community engagement. And so, I mean, that's just a perfect example, I believe, of energies. And I mean, I could have met this gal and never followed up, but there was just a connection and a true desire to want to like share resources and be collaborative. And I think, you know, some people have a fear of kind of opening themselves up or not wanting to share an idea because someone might take it, and maybe I do that too much or to a fault. But I mean, I talk about what I'm doing to as many people as possible, knowing that these things will happen or these random opportunities will present themselves, and knowing when to jump on them. So, and also knowing when to say no. But I feel like most of what has come from that desire to be collaborative has been so good and such a good fit.
Right. And it goes back to what you said about openness, you know, all of that. I mean, what you're saying right now really ties into some of the other things that you said, so
yeah,
that's good. Okay, so the last question, this one's my favorite.
Okay.
So this one is asking for you to think about when you were 20, what advice would you give to yourself for excellence at 20 years old?
I've been thinking a lot about what I was like when I was 20, because a lot of the people I work with are in their early 20s. And I have so many great students, and I have some students who I just have a hard time connecting with, because I think, God, it's such a privilege to be in college and have an education and have access to these things. I don't understand why you're not taking advantage of it. So I'd like to think, lately I've been thinking, so funny, because I've been thinking about this a lot. What was I like when I was 20? And in my mind, I'm like, I was so mature and thoughtful and respectful, but I'm sure that wasn't the case. But I mean, going back, I would say, I think when we're in our early 20s, we care so much about what other people think and about things that actually don't matter. Our appearance, decisions we make. Will people think less of me if I decide to do this, or whatever it is, even if it's something as simple as choosing where we live or what career we're going to follow. So I go back and tell myself to worry less or not at all about those things. And it took me a long time to find my voice and to be comfortable being confident in the workplace and asking for what I want, and learning to do that again in a way that is kind and respectful, but that is firm and assertive. And I don't know what I could tell myself when I was 20 to find that, but just to know that, you know, it may be met with resistance or naysayers, but in the end, you know, those people won't stick around, and it's important for you to just ask, you know. I like to tell my own kids and the students in my class, what's the worst that's gonna happen? And I wish I would have said that more to myself when I was 20. Who cares? What's the worst thing that's gonna happen? Prepare for that, and then you can do it.
Really great answers. Thank you so much, Vanessa. So today we had Vanessa Vancour with us. She answered 5 questions on excellence. And if you want to learn more about Vanessa, check out the previous blog to hear her story and background.